Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something huge, a revolution in digital identity. We're talking about a massive shift, right? From a world where big tech companies hold all the keys to your online life to one where you are finally in charge. So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at why digital identity is so broken right now. Then we'll check out this new decentralized model and see how it works for both AI and for us, actual humans. After that, we'll get into the privacy tech that makes it all possible. It's kind of like magic. And finally, we'll peek into the future to see what's coming next.
Okay, let's dive right in. First up, why does our current system feel so, broken?
You know this feeling, right? It's that constant friction. Every single time you sign up for a new service, what happens? You're filling out the same forms, you're uploading your driver's license for the 100th time. It's this whole process called Know Your Customer, or KYC. And honestly, it's just repetitive and super inefficient. And the worst part? Each time you hand over your data, you're basically creating another little honeypot just waiting for the next big data breach.
And this quote from Doc Labs, man, it just hits the nail on the head. The core problem here is what they call identity silos. Think about it like this. Your bank has its own digital filing cabinet with your info. Your university has another one. Your doctor, yet another. And the crazy part is, none of them talk to each other. So you've got dozens of these digital files scattered all over the internet, and each one holds a slightly different and probably outdated version of you. It's a mess.
And this slide just lays it all out, the huge shift in thinking. On the left, you've got the world we live in now, the centralized model. Companies own and control your data, making them these giant, juicy targets for hackers. But on the right, that's the decentralized model. And here, everything changes. You own your data. You control it. You keep it safe in your own digital wallet, and you decide who gets to see what and when. Okay, so what does this new world, this user-centric model, actually look like under the hood? What are the key pieces that make it all work? All right, it basically boils down to three core components. First, you have decentralized identifiers, or DIDs. Think of these as unique ID numbers that you create and own. They're not tied to your email or some social media company. Second, verifiable credentials, or VCs. These are just the digital, totally tamper-proof versions of things you already carry around, like your passport or your diploma. And finally, you have digital ID wallets. These are just secure apps, probably on your phone, where you store and manage all those credentials. And the way it all works together is actually pretty simple and kind of elegant, really. It's this new trust triangle. You've got an issuer, say your university, and they give you a digital diploma, which is a verifiable credential. Then there's you, the holder. You take that credential and pop it into your secure wallet. Now, when you go to apply for a job, you present that credential to a verifier, the potential employer. And here's the cool part. They can instantly check that it's legit without ever having to call the university. Okay, so let's move from theory to practice. How does all this stuff actually work in the real world? Because this isn't some far-off sci-fi concept. It's being built and deployed right now for both super smart AI and for millions of actual people. So we're going to look at two really fascinating examples. On one hand, we've got something for the very near future. How do we make sure an AI has the right permissions to do things for us? And on the other hand, something that's happening today, the massive project in the European Union to give every single citizen their own digital identity wallet. Right, so for an AI to do anything for you, it all has to start with, well, you. The user ID token is the absolute foundation. It's basically a verifiable credential that says, yep, a real human is behind this request. So if you tell your AI assistant to go book you a flight, this token is step one. It proves you are who you say you are. Okay, next up, the AI agent itself gets its own ID. Seriously, you can think of this as the agent's passport. It's a token that lays out exactly what this AI is, what it's built for, what it can do, and, this is really important, what its limits are. So for our little travel agent AI, its passport would clearly state it can search for flights and make bookings, but it absolutely cannot go poking around in your private financial records. And finally, you have the delegation token that ties it all together. This is the bridge. It cryptographically connects your user ID to the agent's ID, and it acts like a very specific set of instructions, something like, I authorize this specific AI to book a flight to London for this week only and for under $1,000. See? It creates this secure,
totally auditable chain of trust. Okay, now let's switch gears to the human side of things. This slide really highlights the real-world messiness of a project this big. We're looking at the EU's Digital Identity Wallet Initiative. Now, the deadline for all member states to issue these wallets is the end of 2026, but as you can see, it's not all smooth sailing. Some countries are on track, sure, but others are facing some pretty big hurdles, and this is often because of different national tech setups or, different interpretations of data privacy laws. So, what's the likely outcome? Probably a pretty fragmented landscape to start with, maybe 30 to 50 different wallets across Europe that don't all play nicely together right out of the gate. Okay, this all sounds amazing, right? More convenience, better security, but it brings up a massive question. How in the world can you share proof of who you are without just handing over all your personal data and giving up your privacy? Let's make this super simple. Think about buying a drink. The bartender only needs to know one single thing. Are you over the legal drinking age? Yes or no? They don't need your name, they don't need your home address, and they definitely don't need to know your exact birthday. So the question is, how can you prove just that one specific fact and nothing else? Well, the answer is this incredible cryptographic breakthrough called zero-knowledge proofs, or ZKPs. And honestly, it sounds like science fiction, but it's real. In the simplest terms, it's a way to prove that a statement is true without revealing any of the information that makes it true. It's kind of like mathematical magic. So here's how it would work in practice. Let's say our friend Jack here needs to prove he has a university degree for a job. Instead of showing his diploma, he just makes the claim. His digital wallet then uses ZKPs to generate a clever mathematical proof based on his digital credential. The service provider system can then challenge that proof with a series of cryptographic questions. By successfully answering them, Jack proves he has the degree, but he never actually shows them the diploma itself, not the university's name, not his grades, not even his graduation date. And what makes these proofs so powerful is that they stand on three really important pillars. First is completeness. If your claim is true, you can always prove it, no question. Second, soundness. If your claim is false, you can never fake a proof. The math just won't work. And third, the most important one, is zero knowledge. The person verifying your claim learns absolutely nothing except for a simple yes or no. That's it. All right, so where is all this heading? With all this new tech and policy, what are the next big steps in building this new foundation for digital trust? So the timeline here is really picking up speed. I mean, look at this. In early 2026, you've got Ireland launching a pilot just for age verification. By the end of that same year, all EU countries are legally required to be issuing these wallets, and then just 1 month later, even your web browser will need to recognize these new identity certificates. The big takeaway here? This isn't a 10 years from now thing. This is happening, and it's happening fast. And if you look even further down the road, the whole ecosystem is already gearing up for the next big challenges. People are already working on quantum-resistant cryptography, security that can withstand attacks from future quantum computers. They're using blockchain to create these unchangeable permanent audit trails. And some places, like Ireland, are even starting to think about how this tech could be used to tackle huge social problems, like all the anonymous abuse we see on social media. So this all brings us to one final, and I think pretty profound thought. Our digital and our physical lives, they're not separate anymore. They're merging, and our identity is the key that unlocks everything in both worlds. For the last, 20 years, we've just been handing those keys over to big companies. But this new model, it's a radical alternative. It asks a simple question: what if the only person in charge of your keys was you?